Hello and very warm welcome to Decision 2019, a special program where Rise News brings you up-to-the-minute coverage of the Nigerian presidential elections, which is gone, and we're waiting for the governorship and Houses of Assembly elections this coming Saturday. So it is with great context and perspective on the most important ballot issues that were hinged this program on. My name is Christian Ogodo. Thanks for joining us. And coming up in the next 60 minutes, top-notch comments and analysis with unrivaled insight, hindsight and foresight into Decision 2019, including as the nation prepares for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections this coming Saturday, we'll take a look at the intrigues, power play, alliances and permutations in the 6 geopolitical zones, beginning with the north-central states and the possibility of the emergence of new governors in that region. And later, recall that during the recently concluded presidential elections, the media was awash with reports of the ignoble conduct of the military in some parts of the country, particularly in the Niger Delta region. We'll get top-notch analysis on this, as it is said that top security is being dispatched to the Niger Delta for the Saturday governorship and state houses of assembly elections. And having returned its presidential candidate and incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari to take charge of the helm of affairs for another 4 years, the All Progressives Congress faces a crucial test on Saturday in the governorship and state assembly polls. Taking a close look at the north-central region, for example, it's most likely going to be a two-horse race between the ruling APC and the main opposition PDP. Now, the electorate will be assessing the strength and weakness of all the candidates and preferably opt for the one who they think can secure their commonwealth. But the electoral process during the presidential and National Assembly elections was marred with so many irregularities, and just yesterday, the Acting Inspector General of Police reiterated his commitment to enhancing security measures ahead of Saturday's polls. Here's the Acting Inspector General, Mohammed Adamu, making his stance known on thuggery, ballot snatching, and disruption of electoral process.
The fact that we've just concluded the presidential and National Assembly elections, and we want to congratulate all Nigerians for generally peaceful conduct of the election, and we are prepared now for the gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections in the country. We would like every Nigerian to come out and cast his or her vote. The security arrangement we provided during the presidential election is being enhanced so as to provide an enabling environment for everybody to come out and cast his or her vote for their prepared candidate. We will again advise those that will want to disrupt the process to rethink, because during the presidential election, we had some few challenges here and there. Those challenges will not allow them to repeat themselves. We are taking more security measures to address those pockets of challenges we notice. So, thuggery again is not allowed. Ballot snatching is not allowed. Disruption of the process of the election is not allowed. We have resolved, the security personnel have resolved to deal ruthlessly with anybody that attempts to disrupt the process of this election.
So, in a region characterized by non-payment of workers' salaries, herdsmen killings, and largely underdeveloped, How will the electorates cast their ballots? Will votes truly count despite all the political permutations and realignment? Who will the thrill of victory tilt to? And for more election analysis, I'm now being joined by Dr. Suleiman Barnabas, who is a political sociologist and lecturer at the Baze University here in Abuja. Dr. Barnabas Suleiman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, some people, you're a political sociologist, and I know you definitely will be filled with a lot of historicity about the involvement, of the military in the political development of this country. And it looks as if they aren't just going away, considering first what happened in last Saturday's elections, how some segments of the electorate accused them of being involved, and even INEC officials confirming their ignoble role, particularly in Rivers State. How do you underscore this?
Well, it's important for us to know and note that democratic politics in Nigeria, first of all, was brought about by the military. And they still
not even after the colonialists, when we attained
in the Fourth Republic.
Okay.
The Fourth Republic. I'm narrowing that
down,
idea to the Fourth Republic.
Okay.
And they still feel that they own democracy, and so they still want to control how democratic politics, is played in this part of the country. And they have the money, they have the power, they have the contact. And most of the people you see on the scene today are in one way or the other connected to these military people. And so it's difficult for you to want to wish them away, just like that. And I think they are not willing to also disappear from the scene. Unfortunately, the behavior of our politicians, are not helping the situation. Because when politicians are so desperate, they want to win at all costs. And make no mistake, even the people in opposition, they also contact these military people. They bribe them. They want them to be on their side. So the military's role in our politics, as despicable as it is, we should also note the role of politicians in ensuring that these men in uniform still remain relevant in our democratic politics.
Yeah, but the relevance, Nigerians would wish is that, look, why don't you dump your khaki and get involved, with the democratic process instead of wanting to subvert it by, along with other security agents and the rest, snatching ballot boxes or not bringing ballot boxes to where they're supposed to be. At least this came out from one of the INEC officials in Rivers State. It's a huge cause for concern when you look at it that the courts have even ousted their powers to be, involved in elections, in the conduct of elections. Why are they still, doing everything to be part of it?
Well, it is totally wrong. And I think that the international community and relevant organizations and partners, the stakeholders in our democratic process, must also, play a role here in ensuring that the military do not participate in our democratic processes or the elections. But even when they have to be there, let it be clear, let it be clearly seen that every one of them, play their roles without getting partisan. Now, like I said, the stage at which our politics, exists at the moment, you cannot totally say that the military will not be involved in terms of providing security, because I've listened to the IG of police who will say
I was going to come to that. Okay,
that they need the military to provide, assistance, and that when they do, they will call upon them. So you see that we are beginning to legitimize it, which is very, very worrisome. So the president, being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, should be prevailed upon to talk to these military people so that they don't, you know, become
militarize
they don't
the whole.
Exactly, they don't militarize the whole process, because that brings a lot of question mark on our democratic progress.
And that could probably is capable of scaring the voters, and from there you have voters' apathy?
Yeah, that's true. But again, for us to be really realistic, before now, elections hardly take place in most parts of the country, particularly in the Niger Delta area, because people write results. I mean, we've had a former governor of from the Niger Delta, Donald Duke, you know, tell the whole world how they read elections. We've heard from you know, some political actors tell us how they compromise the process. So if the military will have to stay away from our politics, the politicians, you know, must also play a major role in ensuring that they behave themselves. A situation where talks are so empowered, unfortunately, some security agencies escort these talks to carry out very undemocratic actions to deprive the people of their franchise. So the politicians have a role to play, major role to play at that, in following the rule and regulations that guide democratic politics, that people are free to choose the leaders of their choices without necessarily being, you know, forced to do so, and that when they vote, their votes also ought to count.
Well, that's a universal language that has been spoken since February 23rd, when Nigeria had its presidential and National Assembly election. And I think it is being re-echoed now against the background of the governorship election on Saturday alongside the state houses of assembly elections. But the Inspector General of Police, let's revisit that video where he said that they are on top of security during Saturday's, situation and the rest, and stern warning to ballot box snatchers and thuggery and the rest. We didn't see them atop their, security situation in the last election. Should Nigerians really believe the Inspector General of Police?
Well, the truth is that Nigerians hardly believe our security agencies, because they play a major role in the process of undermining the people's will. And so when before the February 23 elections, the Inspector General of Police and other security agencies came out and said people should go about, to vote candidates of their choice. They shouldn't be afraid of anything. But they hardly go to some areas, because they are vulnerable areas. Go to the villages where those talks manifest. You see, you don't limit election security to where observers, international observers, their presence, are pronounced. You have to go to the villages, you have to go to those local governments where security agents, are hardly seen. And when you see them, they don't even have, weapons. And so those are the places that talks, attack. And when the police or the soldier, claim to be there, and then they take side with certain political parties and actors, then that becomes is a case of, being partisan themselves, which is what the people are seeing. They have seen how soldiers, how security agencies have assisted in the process of undermining their will, and that's why they will never, want to believe the IG.
That's a very strong submission there. Okay. Let's now look at the elections as it concerns the North Central region. I know you are from Kogi State. I know you are the son of a retired Army colonel, and even in some states you either have some, let me not use the word appendages, but some growth, or sociological leanings like that. Take, for example, in Niger State, the governor there, Bello, his father was a former retired general. Yeah, Colonel Bello, yeah. And even the one that contested the other time and the rest. But is it not good, political developments we're seeing? if you underscore it too against Lieutenant General J.T. Hussaini, who is running for the PDP in Plateau State. We'll come to that, but let's take it first from Niger State.
Well, first, we must appreciate the fact that these gentlemen are also entitled to exercising their democratic rights. You know, once they are adults of the required age, of course, they can present themselves, you know, for the context. The only worrying thing there is the fact that let's not, you know, develop an elitist democratic culture where those who will become governors today and tomorrow and, you know, some years to come are those who have parents, you know, from the military or from privileged homes. You know, the process should also be democratized. And that goes to the political parties, you know, who will have to fill them because, of course, they contested. And but again, you can see why the military will continue to, you know, exert influence on our democratic process because they have interest. Their children, they want their children there, they want their wives there, they want, you know, their relatives there, and so they play active role. Not just that the current governor, Bello, is the son of a retired colonel, and former military governor of Kano State, Colonel Sani Bello, but the first lady of that state is the son of General Abdul Salam Abubakar.
The first lady is the daughter.
Is the daughter of General Abdul Salam Abubakar.
Now, what kind of political influence would this bring onto the ruling party in Niger State against the opposition party? Because we know that the son of a general too, you know, Gado Nasco,
yes,
yeah, contested under the PDP and he lost. So, but what kind of political rivalry is there in Niger State, particularly if you look at the governorship contest?
Yes, I think that, you know, the people will have the opportunity to choose between two elites, you know, or products of elites and
bourgeois.
Yeah, exactly, if you want to use that word. Well, what the electorate wants is to get people or elect a governor that will attend to their needs, a governor that is pro-development, a governor that is going to pay salaries, a governor that is going to fight criminality, because you can't run away from the fact that criminals are, you know, carrying out serious and terrible attacks in some parts of Niger State. So they'll be going out there to vote for someone that they consider, you know, the person they want who align with maybe the president. And so if I want to say that...
they've spoken on February 23rd by
yes,
overwhelmingly voting for the president.
Yes.
Do you see a change, a swing there on Saturday?
Yes, I see that there will be a serious influence. The presidential election will have serious influence on the outcome of Saturday's election, the gubernatorial election in Niger State. You know, and then when you look at the fact that the son of Bello is a very generous man. I mean, he's loved in Niger State. Then the first lady now is the daughter of Abdul Salam Abubakar, someone also former head of state. And so you see, now Nasco's father, that's retired Major General Nasco, was IBB's main man, and I mean, he is still IBB's main man, yeah, and the minister of FCT
then, yeah,
when Babangida was president. So you can see how but I think that they will still go with Bello, you know, for obvious reasons. You know, they want to remain with the president, and again, because when the governor was there, and don't forget, the two of them are from the same senatorial zone. Yeah, they are all from zone C.
So, but why aren't we giving other parties, you know, a bit of a chance that they can create an upset?
Well, if there's anyone who is making serious inroad into that context now, is Dr. Mani, you know, and of the ADC.
Yeah.
You know, but you see, you cannot deny the fact that our politics is seriously dominated by money and power.
And money doesn't have that kind of...
He doesn't have that kind of money, and the people even disappoint you. I mean, people who tell you they're going to vote for you, once they get money, they change their mind.
No matter how little?
No matter how little, they just need it. Because they've discovered that these politicians, after elections, they don't listen to them. So it's a sociological reality that what they try to get their dividends of democracy on election day. If they don't get it there now, then it's like they've lost out.
Is that not a misplaced sociological reality in the real sense of it, against the backdrop of at least 3 basic needs of man, which most Nigerians lack? That's why, you know, world bodies have scored Nigeria as the world's poverty capital. Yeah,
that's true. But again, a sociology scholar named Habermas, he said something in his theory of communicative action. He said, once a society's life world is dominated by money and power, then what you have is what is called instrumental rationality. Now, instrumental rationality is averse to moral rationality. Our democratic politics and the voting pattern is determined by those who have money and who have power. Power, talking about the use of the military, the use of the police and all. These are the realities that we face in our current democratic environment. And so if you don't have money and you don't have power, it will take miracle for you to win an election. Except if you win it by other means. You know what the other means means? That is, you have to use the courts to say we stop you from contesting, like what is happening in Rivers State, what has just happened today in Taraba State. So the political thespians, the political actors...
In Zamfara too now.
And in Zamfara.
The Supreme Court has made a ruling and that they don't have a candidate. And that is the end of that
So
matter.
if it's possible for another court before Friday to come up and say...
What court should that be?
Well, any court, they can always manufacture them.
Above the Supreme Court of Nigeria?
Of course, the Supreme Court is part of our... no, I'm talking about in Niger State.
Okay.
If any court comes up tomorrow and says NASCO is disqualified, or that Sani Bello is disqualified, then Mani will have a chance. So you just use any freak you can. That's why I'm working on a project that I call Politricks. It is your capacity to engage in all forms of tricks.
Trickery.
Trickery, thank you. That will determine whether you stand a chance in our democratic contestation. And that's what politicians are doing now. They don't have to wait for the electorate to vote to elect a leader. You go to the courts and get judgment. And then in that way, your greatest challenger is not of the
And they
contest.
could even snuff, stuff the ballot boxes too.
Of course, there's nothing they don't do. They can kill. So what else are you talking about?
Okay, let's move from Niger State now to your own state, Kogi State. Yes, the governorship election is not this Saturday. It's going to be sometime in November for Bello to be contesting for a second term. But the State House of Assembly, you want to reconcile last February 23rd presidential elections and the rest. They voted for Mr. President, the APC. You know, a total swing from the PDP-held states with 2 PDP governors and the rest. Do you foresee any drastic change happening in the assembly elections, even though those who were in the PDP before had decamped to APC and the rest, and APC now has majority in the State House of Assembly?
You see, the political situation in Kogi State, is quite different in some ways compared to what is happening in other parts of the country.
Of the North Central region?
Even of the North Central region. Now, this is the first time, if you get to Kogi State now, this is the first time that you have someone from the minority becoming the governor of Kogi State. And that happened because the person who originally won the election died on the eve of that election.
Suddenly, yeah.
Suddenly. And so what will happen in Kogi State will depend on, so many variables, so many factors. Who will the Igalas present? Would they be ready to come together, or they are going to come with different candidates to contest against an incumbent Bello? That the people think. In fact, one of the things, I interacted with people during the elections, one of the things that they said they were not going to vote, some people who said they were not going to vote for Buhari, was that if Buhari won the election, that's at the time, that you may want to work with Bello, and then they didn't want Bello. But again, like I said, it depends on what the opposition. In fact, APC, we don't even know if APC is going to field Bello. So the primaries have to be contested first and won, and then we'll be able to do the analysis on facts and not just on excessive imagination. So let's leave it until sometime in June, July, when they will go for the primaries, and then we'll know who PDP will bring,
who the candidates would be. Okay, but you want to assess the House of Assembly there, when Bello came in as governor, the PDP had majority, yes, and the rest. But today, the table is tilted. Again,
that brings to the fore the role of instrumental rationality in determining who gets what, when, and how, politics.
And the people don't seem to really have a say there, because a lot of them have suffered months and months of non-payment of salaries, gratuities, and the rest. We've heard and seen directors, serving, who just slump, because they couldn't afford the basic medications for when they are ill.
Well, there are two stories to that, perspective. That's argument. Bello himself has constantly come out to say that he is not owing the civil servants, but the reality, which I think is indisputable, is that some persons have not been paid their salary, and that again is going to tell on not just the governorship election, but the House of Assembly elections. So, look at what happened in the Southwest. The votes that Dino Melaye was able to garner and win that, it was a protest vote. In 2015, Smart Adeyemi was contesting under PDP, and Bello was contesting under APC. In 2019,
vice versa now.
So you can see people are becoming wiser. These people don't have ideology. They are not fighting on any political ideology. They are just, fighting
now
for their
they're thinking of individuals now, not necessarily the parties.
Individuals.
So which is good for the political development of the country.
Very good. Very, very good. I voted for some, I'll vote for APC members, I'll vote for PDP members, I'll vote for individuals, because now nobody is there on an ideological basis. There are people that will decamp a day after they are announced as winners of that election.
Is that a bane of Nigeria's political development or democratization?
Well, yes, it is a bane of our democratic growth, because when people get elected into offices, not on the basis of what they stand for, but on the basis of what they want to get. When people win elections, and because the governor is not giving them money, or because the governor they decamp, and recamp again when something shows. It shows that we are not, because democracy is not about the leaders, it's about the people. People are living in abject poverty, people are suffering, and these people, their children are living the best of life, opulent lifestyles, that they cannot afford. And I'm so happy that after they leave leadership, some of them encounter poverty because they can't sustain what they were unable to, make themselves. So it's a serious problem when we have politicians who don't stand for anything. And like someone said, if you don't stand for anything, you fall for anything. And that's what's happening in our political environment, in Kogi State.
All right, Dr. Barnabas Suleiman, let's take a short break. And when we return, we'll move to the neighboring Kwara State and analyze how the Otoge phenomenon is now become like a tornado or a whirlwind in Nigerian political terrain. All right, you're watching Decision 2019. Plenty more still ahead. Stay with us. You're welcome back to Decision 2019, where we'll provide context and perspective on the most important issues around Nigeria's general elections. I am Christian Ogodo. Thanks for staying with us. And as they have Dr. Barnabas Suleiman, who is a senior lecturer and he's a political sociologist. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Yeah, we're still looking at the jigsaw that the North Central political zone may likely throw up in the governorship and House of Assembly elections. Let's go to Kwara State. You heard of that whirlwind, Otoge. Enough is enough. I mean, literally translated for our English-speaking viewers who don't understand the Yoruba language. Now, there's been a stop to the Saraki dynasty, but one is still with the emerging party in APC, that is Gbemi Saraki. Do you think the Saraki dynasty has really finally been obliterated?
Well, I don't think that this Saraki dynasty has actually come to an end, you know, because the Saraki dynasty goes beyond Senator Bukola Saraki. And so in that sense, I don't think that because the Saraki dynasty is not Bukola Saraki dynasty, and just like you rightly said, there's a Gbemi, you know, and there could be other Sarakis that will eventually emerge. Again, that will be put to the test on Saturday, because if Abdul Razak, that is the Abdul Razak of PDP now, because the other APC...
that's the incumbent governor now. No. Oh, Fatai Ahmed is the, no. Abdul Razak of PDP.
Yes,
yeah.
The one that is the candidate of the PDP.
Yeah.
If he wins, then Saraki can still stand tall and say that he's still strong there. Yeah,
but Kwarans stood firm with the president in the presidential elections and even the National Assembly election, which dethroned Oloye himself, you know, from the dynasty empire that he was occupying, losing his elections and the rest. So, and Kwara is been known to be a very strong swing state. Any president who wins Kwara or Benue or any of them wins the presidential race. That myth, or political myth, you want to say, has not been broken. So what chance are you giving to the opposition PDP there when they were roundly thrashed by the Lai Mohammed phenomenon now, maybe the new dynasty that is rising in Kwara politics?
Well, I think that whatever happens on Saturday, we'll be able to see if truly the Saraki effect, you know, because there are so many factors responsible. You know, why I still think that PDP has a chance, that they have a chance does not mean that they're going to win, but they have a chance. I mean, it's going to be
just like any other party.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be hotly contested between the PDP and the APC, because the incumbent governor is of the PDP. You know, and then you have the Saraki factor. It's possible that he lost his senatorial, but that's not to say that his influence is limited to the senatorial zone. There are other zones that is very influential. He has the structures and all. But if you want me to predict the winner, I think that people will go with APC, you know, because of what you have just said.
The bandwagon effect of the president winning and the rest.
And the truth is that Saraki has been rattled, you know. The situation...
In the last 4 years.
Particularly in the last 3 months, if you want to, I mean, leading to the defeat. I didn't see, I mean, I didn't see Saraki losing his election until the results came out. And that again will also, you know, get some of his strong supporters weakened, you know, and APC, as we have it now, is the party to beat in Kwara State. So I will be surprised if PDP wins the election in Kwara.
You're not giving somebody like Issa Remu, a Labour man who is in Labour Party and has been junketing the whole of Kwara North, South, East, West, you know, and saying that the workers will be his priority.
The thing about politics, you know, is that particularly for those who want to contest for elections, until they lose, they don't want to accept that they are going to lose. Because if you don't have the structures, if you don't have the, I mean, look at Mogalu. Mogalu, fine candidate, you know, intelligent, but I'm sure that anybody who was honest with himself or herself before the outcome of that
would have said that's the best candidate.
That he will not win. Because he doesn't have what it takes to win election in our democratic politics. He doesn't have the instrument. Yeah, in Nigeria, he doesn't have the instrument. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the power. And so if you go to Kwara State, you ask, does Aremu have the money? Does he have the power?
But even the elites who are supposed to know better, you know, like you and I, they don't even support such elitist disposition from the likes of Mogalu and the rest. Why is that so?
You see,
is it a matter of trust or a matter of the political hegemony that you talked about that is being built and excluding some people here and there away?
And again, the elites are also very, very, you know, they don't want to lose sight of the reality. You see, every political culture throws up two types of situation, the ideal and the real. The ideal, they will tell you, if I had my way, I would have voted for so and so, but I don't want to waste my vote. You know, because those who will eventually win are those who have the instruments. And these instruments, as we have it today, is money and power. Money and power will give you the people. Now, somebody may want to ask, the case of our President Buhari, he seems not to have the money, but he has people that have the money and that are ready to go, you know, to any extent. And luckily for him, he also has power now, you know, as an incumbent. So you cannot, you know. So
once there's power, of course, all other things will
fall in.
Okay, let's move from Kwara. You've stuck a finger to the outcome of Saturday's election there. So we'll be seeing a majority too in the House of Assembly in Kwara State by the APC. Is it going to be 50-50, or we'll vote for APC for the governor, we're going to vote PDP for the House of Assembly?
Well, it will, again, because the elections will take place at the same time, simultaneously.
Yes, simultaneously.
Exactly. It's likely going to be that the person who wins, or the party who wins the governorship election, will likely have the House of Assembly, you know, majority in the House of Assembly.
Well, that will just be smooth sailing for such a winner in that state. Let's cross to a tempestuous state, Benue State. I mean, it's been in the news for the good, the bad, and the ugly reasons. Herdsmen, you know, almost obliterating half of the entire state from Agatu to Gwe and the rest. Name all the communities in Benue State that have not suffered one herdsman killing and the other. And that forced the governor, the incumbent governor, Samuel Otom, to move away from the PDP, from the APC to the PDP. Now the battle is really on. The battle of the PDP in Benue State was tested on Saturday, February 23rd, and the PDP came out tops. But in a very close race, behind the PDP was the APC. But APC lost all the senatorial candidates. What do you see coming up in that state?
You see, the sentiment in Benue, particularly among the voters for Otom, is very strong. You know, they feel, and I don't know how he played that game. Otom, he played it very well. Now, what they see Otom for now is their hero, someone that is going to fight the herdsmen, someone, I mean, because of the bill.
Yeah.
So, you know, so there's a strong sentiment, you know, for Otom in Benue State, which I think will play out in the election. So if I should, you know, guess who the winner will be, I think I will go with Otom of the PDP. He's likely going to win the elections.
Just basically because of the sentiments, you know, and the people.
Sentiments, again, remember, he has the instrument. He has the money, and
he does not control the police.
He does not control the police.
He does not control the army.
But there's a limit to which security agencies...
It does not. I mean, the federal might will come to play.
No. Federal might cannot be general. I mean, it's not going to be something... I mean, there are areas that are very...
because the ruling party definitely would want to exercise that and to probably want to take the state back from PDP. But
the federal might was there when a political juggernaut like Akume lost his election. The federal might was there
when Gemade
lost, although Gemade went to another political party anyway, you know, but it was there when Akpabio, you know,
in Akwa Ibom
fell. It was there. I mean, if Dino, that's one credit I give to the president, actually. I mean, for Dino Melaye to have won in Kogi West tells you that this federal government is not desperate to fight another person's battle. I mean, if it is clear that the people, this is the candidate that the people want, then they will have their way. That couldn't have happened in an Obasanjo presidency, that a Dino will win an election, considering the very vicious disposition of Dino to the president, you know, personal attacks and some
but we saw two people winning elections from one, at least from prison. One was released, if you remember, Omishore. He was in prison when he was elected senator.
Yeah, because he was supporting the president. Buhari, Obasanjo was he was Obasanjo's candidate. That an opposition. Oh, well, maybe in Abia, where, you know,
Oji,
you know, because Oji had the money, and then the talks. Well, you see, there are outliers, you know, in this situation. There are certain one or two cases that may not follow the pattern.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think that the people of Benue have, you know, they've made up their mind, you know, for in 2015, Buhari won Benue State. Overwhelmingly, but this time around, due to the actions or inactions of people in government, you know, the people feel that this government has
let them down.
And then PDP is taking advantage of that propaganda, or if it's a reality, whatever it is, and the people are actually out to say, want to tell the president that, and those who support him in that place, that they can't take us for granted. So I give it to PDP.
Great.
In Benue.
Let's quickly move over to the neighboring state, Nasarawa State. Nasarawa has been describing Nasarawa, if Nasarawa were a human being, you say is a bohemian, a non-conformist, you understand? Yeah. Al-Makura came under CPC. That was President Buhari's party before the mega merger. Yeah. You understand? Yes. And it's remained, you know, exhibited all a bohemian attributes. So you have Abga there, Labaran Marku, former Minister of Information, former student union activist then in his heydays. Then you have the APC, the ruling party there today, and the PDP, the main opposition party. So three parties are really going to run neck and neck here. Yeah. How do you know, want to underscore this situation? There are ethnic rivalries too amongst the people. And
even religious, yeah, that's true, but it's going to be very tough. Labaran Maku has structures, you know, he's from the Egon, extraction. And he understands.
They seem to be more in number, but they don't seem to be making use of the number. It's like they are divided too.
Yes, they are very much divided. And then they are also, I mean, the other political parties and ethnic groups have succeeded in infiltrating them. You know, them. And so the unity of purpose when it comes to politics
is not there.
You know, because some other persons want the deputy, the governorship position, and they've been promised senatorial seats and other juicy positions, and also they are not united when it comes to bringing a common front, you know, for electoral contestations. Having said that, I think that the APC stands a very, you know, the best chance of winning that election because of the Buhari, you know,
phenomenon. But that was a very close result there from Nasarawa State.
But he won.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So he won, and so that will be
a factor.
A factor, because now that he has won.
But the governorship elections are localized, so one is looking at it that, okay, we're just going to vote for our people here. We're not voting any external person. Don't you think that critical consideration is going to be used in judging, you know, who the people really vote for? Putting into perspectives all, you know, that you've talked about, power and money.
Yes. Again, don't, you know, rule out the influence of the incumbent. And so as it stands today, the party to beat is the APC, that is the incumbent in. I mean, if the APC didn't, if they were not the ruling party in Nasarawa State, in this last governorship, in this last presidential election, probably it wouldn't have gone their way. You see, our people's mindset, their psychology, is also tied to this phenomenon of incumbency. You know, in their discussions and all, it manifests. And then now that the party also has the money to bring out, you can be sure that they have an edge. It's going to be very tough, you know, but they have an edge. And I think that even Labaran Maku is going to give a better fight than the PDP in Nasarawa State.
Okay, Saturday is not too far away. Let's move to the Plateau now, where the politics of the Plateau is not so much different from Benue and Nasarawa. Don't forget that there used to be one state, the Benue Plateau State, including Nasarawa State then. And today we'll find Lieutenant General J.T. Useni, former Minister of Aviation, former Governor of Old Bendel State, former Minister of the FCT, running for, you know, the governorship of his state against the incumbents Lalong. The Plateau people are really disgruntled. It's like they've lost faith in the system. Is that the case from your sociological analysis of the political development there, or firmament that is, you know, snowballing gradually?
Yeah. You see, again, in 2015, the president won Plateau State, that's Buhari. But this 2019, he lost Plateau State. And that's largely because of the perception on the part of the Birom and then the indigent other voters that the current administration is not meeting their expectation. And so I think that, again, you have a warlord in the person of Jeremiah Oseni, who understands.
Your father was his ADC in the good old days, yes, when he was governor when he was
military administrator of Bendel State.
No, governor of Bendel State. Okay, then it wasn't administrator. Okay,
military governor of Bendel State. You know, yes, that's true. But I'm not basing my analysis on that. The reality is
I just thought sociologically there will be a connection too, because you had talked about the bourgeoisie, yes, how they operate politically. So
now I think that the variables, the factors that will determine who becomes governor of Plateau State favors Jeremiah Oseni.
How? Why?
One, he has the money. Two, he has the power. You know, the military power
is like a cult.
It doesn't dissolve. I can tell you today that if Jeremiah Oseni picks his phone and speaks with the CEO, I mean, the brigade commander in Plateau State, he will he will pick his call before he picks that of the governor. So he has that power. Then the governor of Plateau State also is, he has done fairly well, but he has so many battles, even within his party. Yeah, people are not Yes, intraparty squabbles.
So he's become a turncoat to his own people.
Yes, and I see a situation where the general will leverage on all those issues and emerge as the winner. Plateau State.
I'm just wondrous. I remember along when he was the Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly during the annihilation of the then governor, who is serving a jail term now, and how he stood firm against the brigandage unleashed on the House of Assembly and the impeachment of the governor by 4 or 5 legislators. So where has it gone wrong now? Because it's always been firm and steadfast with the people of Plateau State.
Now, if you bring the Darie factor into it, if Darie was given ticket by any political party from his zone, from where he is in Kuje, he will still win. Because he's a typical politician. Darie is the one who gives everything. I mean, as the money is coming, the allocation is sharing and all. So the people people believe in him, they love him, they want him there. And so you can't use that, you know, it will not be too, we may not be too accurate if we use that situation to determine whether, of course, he lost the presidential election. You wonder why he should lose, considering the fact that the presidency, the powers that be, are not supported him to ensure that Plateau State was delivered to the president. So there are so many factors, the religious factors, the herdsmen, farmers situation and all. I think that the people would want to vote in someone that they think has the capacity, the courage to even speak with the president, because don't forget, Jeremiah Hosseini and their contemporaries, you know, they can discuss issues and all. So once the election is over, the president becomes the president of the whole country. The governor also becomes the governor of the entire state. And so the Jeremiah Hosseini and the president can now have heart-to-heart talk on how to tackle the problem, the security challenges in Plateau State. Do
you think that what the sitting governor has not been able to do in the last 4 years?
Effectively, you know, I mean, with all due respect, the Plateau people seldom, you know, see him as someone who has that capacity to do what they want him to do. You know, at least compared to the candidate of the PDP, Jeremiah Hosseini.
All right. Well, we're gradually winding the program down. Let's come to the Federal Capital Territory, because it's still part of the North Central Zone, and something that you may want to describe as historic happened on the 23rd of February during the presidential and National Assembly election. The people voted the opposition in the FCT. Protest votes against Mr. President losing even in his own constituency in the Villa and the rest, and where, you know, he bestrides as the president of Nigeria.
See, the reality of our situation today, particularly in the FCT, is that most of the people no longer see money the way they used to see it. You know, so
money seems to drive everything.
At least at this moment, you know, in our political development, you know, they had so much access to money, and prior to 2015, of course, because things were not done properly, you know. But today, the TSA has actually imprisoned money. And so they are not happy. They don't want to know whether the long-term reward will favor them. But as far as they are concerned, this government has brought about hardship to them. And then again, don't forget about the fact that FCT is not a place that you can easily influence anything outside of the reality. I mean, the eyes of the international community is there, and then the people who stay in FCT to vote, you know, cosmopolitan populace. You know,
but you still have the rural people, the Gwaris are still, you know, large in population.
Yes.
And they still matter in the voting system.
Arrangement. Yeah. Whatever happens in FCT will go to all those villages and all. If there's money in the FCT, of course, the people in the village, will feel it. They are the most hit by the economic realities of today. And I think that was the major reason why they actually voted against the president. I mean, the majority of the votes, because the vote was divided, but of course, PDP had won.
Okay, you've been really spot on, Dr. Barnabas Suleiman, political sociologist, senior lecturer, University, Baze University here in Abuja. Thanks so very much for being part of this program and very in-depth analysis of what to look for on Saturday in the North Central Zone. We'll hope to get you here some other time. Well, that's it for this edition of Decision 2019. Remember to join us again for a fresh edition tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thanks for watching.
know where he's been taken, but the airport is being cleared right now, and all the workers have been cleared from the from that area. We understand that this police officers are actually chasing them out of the airport as is. This is the current situation here at the airport.
Maybe say another flight, not tonight.